Good evening. Hello, everyone. A very, very good evening, good afternoon to some, to all of you who have tuned into our first Thai Women Meena session, the Thai Women Meena session, where we uncover the details of a pitch deck, brick by brick. On behalf of Thai Dubai and Thai Women Meena program, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll keep my introduction very short. I want to be conscious of the time for the session. I would take a little bit of time just to say a little bit about Thai in case anybody in the audience is new and may not know much about Thai. In a nutshell, Thai is an organization that fosters entrepreneurship globally. What started as a conversation, a small gathering in Silicon Valley in 1992, has now turned into more than 60 chapters in more than 15 countries. So, how Thai functions is on five main pillars, namely mentoring, networking, education, funding, and incubation. While Thai has a global reach, we focus on each on the local ecosystem. So that's how Thai Dubai is in charge of the Middle East. There are some great programs which we run for all the entrepreneurs here, the mentorship program, the Thai Women program, the university program focusing on student level entrepreneurs. We do a lot of learning series, various events. So do keep your eyes out there for anything that is relevant to you and you can join. A little more about the Thai Women program. This is the third year since its launch and has been amazing for us to work with many, many amazing women entrepreneurs, not only across UAE and MENA, but also across the globe. It has been inspiring to say the least. This year, the program, there will be more details that's going to come out. So do keep an eye out. Again, Instagram and LinkedIn would be a great channel for you to follow because we give regular updates there. So you can be kept updated on whatever is relevant for you. The Thai Women's Mission vision is to embrace, engage, and empower women entrepreneurs across the globe, inclusive of all stages of an enterprise, origin, standing, or background. It's built on six main pillars: learning, mentoring, access to funding, scalability, safe space, and community. And throughout the year, we will be rolling out several aspects of the program. So keep your eyes out. Like I said, just follow Thai Dubai on our social channels. Thai Dubai is the Middle East chapter of Thai, based in the Dubai Internet City and has been around for more than 19 years now. The easiest way, like I said, is to be a part of this community and to get to know about all the events we run is by liking us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to access all our events and programs. A special shout out to also the charter members who makes Thai happen. To anybody in the audience, special shout out to you. Moving on to the session for today, I am more than pleased to welcome our Thai Women Co-Chair for Thai Dubai, Ms. Veena Munganahalli. A professional Bharatanatyam dancer from the age of 4, Veena has taught and trained many students in various forms of dance for nearly 2 decades in 3 countries before starting her own export manufacturing and retail business. The manufacturing part of the business is set up as a social enterprise where women from rural villages are trained and employed to carry out the entire manufacturing process. Products manufacturers are supplied to many leading brands like Barney's, Harrods, Schwartz in the US and Europe, etc. The specialty retail touchpoints are situated in 45 locations around India and cater to everything for kids' spaces, from room decor to customized furniture, toys, and gifts. Now, Veena owns a boutique management consultancy setup that helps international companies set up base in India. Apart from being a serial entrepreneur, a dancer, Veena has also worked in television. Besides her amazing personality and energy, she's a mentor and fervent believer in helping mentor and support women-led businesses to flourish. Without further ado, Veena, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Cicely. I'm not sure if I deserve all that glowing introduction you gave to me, but thank you all the same. Um, I would love to invite here and welcome here our resource and our speaker for today, Ms. Radhia Amar. She is a senior program manager with one of Thai Dubai's very close partner networks, Flat Six Labs in Egypt. Ragia, welcome to this session today. She has many years of Goldman Sachs 10,000 women entrepreneurs, and it's a pleasure to have you here. I would like to reiterate here that pitch decks are not just for investors. Pitch decks are also to make your storyline firm, to know what you have in your business and what you are selling and bringing to the community. So,
session. Feel free across the session to type all of your questions in the Q&A button, and then we will go through all the questions at the very end of the presentation. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Okay, so today the outline of the session is we're going to discuss why pitching, the pitch deck flow and presentation, the design, some pitching and fundraising tips, and then we're going to end with the Q&A. So first of all, starting off with why pitching really matters. So first of all, everyone thinks that I want to pitch to investors in order to get money. Of course, this is very important, but there are many different reasons why pitching important or why pitching matters. So you pitch in order to, you can hire employees, you can validate your idea, you can establish new partnerships, you can acquire new clients, and you can start lobbying for policy and regulations. Pitching is important. Even if it's not to investors, you can pitch to, you can pitch your ideas to your friends, you can pitch your ideas to different entrepreneurs, to investors. So it's to several people and for several reasons. We're going to talk about the pitch deck flow. We're going to talk about every element of this in detail. So the flow of a pitch deck, you start with an intro with your title, with your logo, and then your story, the problem, the solution, the market size, competition, revenue model, and then the timeline or milestones, and then your financial ask and the team. So starting off with the first slide is the title. So here you basically put your logo and the startup name, your slogan, and then a one-liner outlining of what you do, the company name, and the logo, as I said. It's very important, and it's very catchy when you start with a story. What is the story? What sparked the idea? What made you, what did it make it important for you to start the idea? Why is it relevant to the market? How your, the insights of your idea, why are you doing this idea? So always start with the story, start with a question, start with what inspired you to start this business or startup. It's very easy when you start with a story for the people to follow and remember your pitch. So this is what sticks in the mind of the person who's listening to your pitch deck, is the story that you start with, or the goal that makes it memorable for the person who's listening to your pitch deck. After you present your story, you always start stating the different problems, the problems of that are really happening now that made you think of, I'm going to start doing this because there is this and this and this. It's very also important to list some numbers and statistics to prove that this problem is valid and big. And then after you state that the problem is out there and it's big, you start telling your solution. You always, it's very, if you're at the idea stage, you can just like have an overview of the solution that you're providing. It's always good to be visual, to state what you're doing in a visual matter. We're going to talk about that in the design section, but always state your solution, the features of the problem that you're solving using visuals. Don't use a lot of words, a lot of numbers. So make it more visual so that it's attractive for anyone who's listening to your pitch deck. Moving on to the market size. The market size is where you show the size of the market, and then how are you going to target this market? How, like, for example, you're going to say that the market size is, for example, 1 million people, and you're targeting 10% of this. So this just shows how big are you solving the problem that you're trying to solve. Moving on to the competition, it's very important to know your competitors, to know what they're doing, and to explain for the person that is listening to you, how are you different from your competitor? What is your value proposition? When I say value proposition, I mean things that make you stand out from competition. It's very healthy to have competition, to have competitors out there in the market. So it's just how you position yourself in the market and how you are different from the competitors. I put here some examples of the different features that you can state, and then you put your startup out there, the different competitors. It's better to put their logos, so always be more visual. And then you start saying how are you different, what's right and what's wrong, and what are you missing, and how are you better from the competitors. Moving on to the business model or the revenue model, it's how you are making money. So here I put two examples, like if it's through subscriptions or through commission-based. It's very important to anyone who's listening to you, especially if you're pitching for someone and looking to fundraise, is that he or she will know how you're going to make money, how you're going to make profits out of this idea or startup. And then after the revenue model is your timeline. Here you show like the previous, current, and future plans, where you started and what happened, and then in the next quarter, what are your plans, what did you achieve, and then your future plans of what are you planning to do. So it's the previous. On to the ask is how much money are you asking for? So you just write the number that you're asking for, and then redistribute this number. For example, like 20, you're going to spend this money on 25% operations, 10% research, 15% on development, and the rest for marketing and expansion. And it's always better not to just ask for money. It's better to state how are you going to, the distribution of the money on the different aspects that you're going to spend it on. And then your last slide is the team slide. You put the pictures of the different team members that you have, the different names and their titles. And you always, it's very important to say, like, for example, like you all have 30 years of experience in marketing, finance, supply chain, for example, and entrepreneurship. So you don't just state everyone, the experience of everyone. You just put the titles, and then you state the number of experience, cumulative experience of all of you. And then on the last slide, you can always like your first slide, you put your logo, startup, and slogan, and then you thank you and put your contact information. Some people prefer after the slide to list their achievements that they've done so far in the startup. But if you're an idea stage startup, you don't have to do that. So it's optional to add an extra slide related to the achievements that you've done. But you don't have to add it if you didn't do or didn't establish any achievements. Okay, regarding the design of the pitch deck, you should always make it very simple. Making it very simple, make it legible, simple, and obvious. Always, as I said, use visuals. Don't use a lot of words. Don't use a lot of numbers. Don't make your slides full of paragraphs. Make it full of visuals. It's always, it's easy to remember, and it makes the person who's listening to your slides more attractive to like look at what you're saying, and you're just having the visuals at the back while you're presenting. Some pitching tips: make it simple, not complicated, specific and concise. Don't use words you wouldn't use in normal conversation. Speak very slowly. Don't be fast, because if you're fast, it means that you're stressed. So speak slowly so you can pace yourself while you're pitching. And you can do that by always practice. Practice to yourself, practice to the mirror if you don't have someone to practice in front of you. Look at your audience while you're pitching, and mind the time. So if you have a specific time you're limited to while you're pitching, so always rehearse at home and practice in order to not pass this time. Through your pitch deck, you transmit credibility. You have to always be very confident while you're doing your pitch deck, always stating that this is huge, always saying that I believe in this. The agenda is as follows. We know what you're doing. So when you transmit credibility to the people you're pitching to, it gives you more like confidence, and makes the person who's watching you believe in what you're doing. This is some fundraising tips if you are doing this pitch deck for investment or for fundraising money. You have to expect failure. You have to be persistent. Don't nag. Be respectful and courteous. Know your business and get excited. It's not like if it's your first time to do this pitch deck for fundraising, and expect to fail at the first time. Expect to get negative feedback. Feedback is very important, and negative feedback will make you work on this pitch even more and more to make it better. This is the fundraising guide with different aspects. So if you have a brilliant idea and execution, you need to develop clear understanding of the business and the market, and develop an incredible business. Stunning presentation. You create a pitch deck that clearly explains your business and your success, and practice, as I previously said. Networking is developing a strong network of VCs and entrepreneurs. Reach out to VCs using LinkedIn, email, startups, events, through mutual connections. And clear path to success is understand how to grow your business and explain how you will get there using limited resources. Okay, so I'll first take the Q&A. If you have, please, any questions, please type them.
We do have some questions that come in the Q&A. Veena, will you?
Yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. I think, Ragia, there's one question from Daniela here, which says, do you add an executive summary for the slide at the beginning, or where do you add an executive summary?
No, you don't need to add an executive summary. You can just, as I said, you can replace this executive summary with the story that you start with, giving like 30 seconds, 40 seconds idea of what you're doing through a question or through a statement. In 30 seconds or 40 seconds, you can just brief up your executive summary in this at the very beginning.
So
But you
you're
don't have
saying,
to.
so you're saying talk about it and don't put it in on the slide, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there is another question from somebody whose name is not written. Do you validate the problem or do you just ask a question?
No, it's very important to validate the problem and to state some numbers to prove how this problem is huge. As I said, you can use statistics, you can use examples, you can use different features to state how the problem, how big it is, how it's how it's out there.
Slides, like, you know, in case you're doing it to investors, and if they have follow-on questions, do you need to reference the slides?
You don't need to reference the slides, but if, for example, in the slide of the market size, or if you're having many numbers and you want to reference where these numbers came from, it's very important to put the reference of any statistics that you're going to put in your slides.
I actually had a question when, you know, in today's world, Ragia, when there are so many new ideas coming up, what's been your experience of how you develop at ideation stage? How do you deal with all these, you know, slides where you talk about revenues and all, because you actually don't have revenue, you're only at ideation stage. At that point, how do you make your problem relevant and how do you make your revenue stream relevant?
Okay, so first of all, when I meant the revenue model slide, it doesn't mean that you are making money. It's just stating how are you going to make money? What is your plan of making money? If you don't have a plan at the moment of how you're going to make money, you should always have in your business model ideas of how are you going to generate money. When anyone thinks about any startup or any idea that they're going to do, first things that comes to mind, how are you going to make money? How am I going to get revenues? Or how am I going to make profits? So you should always have in mind of is it a product that you're selling? Is it an online platform that you're going to get money through subscription? So it's just stating how are you going to make money, not actually what are the numbers that you're making.
Yeah, we have actually one question here in the chat box. She says, I have a new startup. Where do you even start looking for investors? I'm a health tech company, and where can I find investors who would be interested in my startup?
Okay, so first of all, when you are looking for investors, you should always think of, do you have the knowledge? Do you want to join an incubator or an accelerator? Which stage are you in? If you're just an idea, it's a very good idea to join an incubation program or an accelerator program to know, or for them to help you grow your idea. And then they can connect you to different investors. But a good advice is that even if you don't want to join an incubation or an acceleration program, you should always like look out for events. For if you're doing a health tech startup, look at different events online, attend different events, connect with other startups in your sector, so that you can learn more if you don't want to join like a program.
How many slides are a good amount of slides to have on a pitch deck?
It's not the number of the slides. It's always what you have in the slides. So if you want to deliver like the message that you're saying, as I said, you should always like the story, the problem, the solution, the market size, your competitors, how are you making money, your timeline, and then your team. So it's not the number of the slides, but it's what's in the slides that you're presenting.
And are there different pitch decks that you prepare for different things? Like, do you have a separate pitch deck for investors? Do you have a separate pitch deck when you're pitching it to, say, partners? How do you manage that? Because all the time you don't have a ask, right? You don't have a ask every time.
Yes, definitely. You can customize your pitch deck, but not much. Like like everyone, they want to know, everyone that you can pitch to, they want to know more or less the same things that you're presenting. But if you are presenting to an investor, there are going to be like slight changes where you're going to focus on how you're making money and what is your financial ask. If you are presenting to a partner, maybe at the very end you can ask or you state what are your needs from this partner, how can this partner help you. So it's always tailored, but very small changes to the person, depending on the person that you're presenting, but the core, they're all the same, the core content.
We have one more question from Daniela Ragia. She says, what are the top pitch deck mistakes that people generally tend to make, especially while pitching to investors?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What are the top pitch deck mistakes?
Okay, the top pitch deck mistakes, as I said, is don't put much information that is not relevant in your pitch deck. Don't keep on just saying that I'm going to do this, do this, do this. Present your problem in a very clear way and how you're going to solve it. Don't put irrelevant information in your slides. Don't make them long. Be precise. As I said, always use visuals to make it attractive to who you're talking to, and just be confident and practice.
And what about the colors? One of the things that I see in all the pitch decks that are sent to us is either there's too much color or there's no color at all. What's your take on colors that should be used in?
Regarding the colors, it's very important to follow your color scheme depending on, for example, your logo or the colors of the branding that you're doing. So if you have a branding scheme to your startup, or like a mood of, even if you don't have a branding scheme of colors, if you want to follow a different color, a specific color scheme, always make all the slides with the same mood. So don't use like a lot of colors and don't use very little colors. So always, if you have a logo with 3 colors, make the mood of the slides with these 3 different colors.
I have a question by WhatsApp here, and they're asking about graphs. What, how, and where is the best way to use graphs on pitch decks?
Okay, so using graphs on pitch decks, I don't really, you can use the graphs, or especially a pie chart in the slide of the market size. And this is where it's important to say what is the market size and how much of the market that you're targeting, and also in the slide of the ask. So it's like the financial ask of like the different distribution of the percentages of the money that you want to raise.
And what about the storyline that you said? Is the story have to be personal, or is it a story about how you started?
No, it doesn't have to be personal, but if it's more personal, it relates more to the people you're talking to. So when you make it more personal, the person in front of you can relate more to what you're saying.
And is it important to finish the story at the end of the pitch deck, or?
No. And the story, as I said, it could be just, it could be a question. So it doesn't have to be like a story or something personal. It could be just a question, like asking the people.
And generally, how long, when you present it, how long in your experience do people take to pitch? Is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Is there
3 to 5 minutes is a sweet spot.
And you leave time for questioning after that?
Yeah, definitely. 3 to 5 minutes and 5 minutes questions. I just want to add something before we continue the question. Just want to show everyone an example of a pitch deck.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen. So this is the pitch deck of Airbnb. First, they're starting with their logo and then slogan, book rooms with local rather than hotels. And then they started with the problem. They stated that the price is an important concern for customers booking travel online. Hotels leave you disconnected from the city and its culture. No easy way exists to book a room with a local or become a host. So they stated the very three different problems that everyone is facing. And then they stated their solution, which is a web platform where users can rent out their spaces and host travelers to save money when traveling. This is the market validation, 660,000 listings on temporary housing site couchsurfing.com, and they're targeting 50,000 temporary housing listings on NYC and F Craigslist for 1 week. Then here is the market size, 2 billion trips booked worldwide, 560 million budgets and online trips, 84 million trips with Airbnb, and this is their market share out of the total market size. The Airbnb product is simple. Step one, here they take you through their solution. You search by location. This is where they state their business model. They say that they take 10% of each transaction. And here they put like a brief of how the revenue projected by 2021. This is their market adoption, different events that they're going to run, and the market adoption, the competition, and this is where they stand. Some people presented by graph, others presented by table, like I stated. And then here they said the press, and then their team. And then here at the very end, people, places, love, plus Airbnb. And then that very last, they state their headquarters, their number, and their contact information. That's it.
I think this was one of the most watched pitch decks in the world in 2011. Yes. I think everyone watches this because it's so simple and thing. So if there is specifically something that, if we are industry specific pitches, like if you are talking about femtech, health tech, food tech, I think your explanation was one about, food tech. How do you explain tech because today everyone is talking about tech. So yeah. How much of importance would you give where tech is an enabler, where actually you're in one business, but using tech as an enabler? How much of weightage would you give tech in your pitch deck?
It's always important to show this area in the solution part. So it's how, if you're doing a platform, if you're doing an application or a website, you state how you're using tech to run your startup or business. So it's very important to state that in your solution. So how you're using tech in order to do this idea or business.
And how do you show, like, if you've bootstrapped and if you've done angel investing, where do you show that?
You show this in your milestones or the timeline. So you show like the different achievements that you achieved from the very beginning to the very end. So before your start, and what's happening now and what's projected to happen in the future.
Is there any other tips that you would like to give our startups, our entrepreneurs? Because I think pitch deck is one of the biggest issues, main points with which you start off your journey as an entrepreneur.
It's very important for everyone to all like the different pitch decks or the big pitch decks, they're online, they're out there. So always look for examples, always check other pitch decks and see how you can learn from others, and what did they achieve and what they did wrong and what they did right. So always look for different examples, always reach out to different people, and always practice. It all comes with practice. You don't start with the perfect pitch deck. It starts with one slide, and then you can end up with 8 perfect slides after you validate your idea, after you go out there and ask your customers or your clients what do you want to gain from this startup, or how you're going to benefit from this startup. So you always learn from your customers. So reach out and get feedback, and this is how you're going to get better, even better and better.
And when you say practice, I know you've mentioned it many times. You just practice with anyone, everyone? How do you, people who come to Flat Six Labs, how do they practice?
They practice to their friends, they practice to us, they practice to everyone. Like the more people you practice to, the different feedback and the more feedback that you get in order to implement in your startup. So the benefit of practicing is that you get feedback in order to start customizing or start working more on your pitch deck according to this feedback.
We have one question by Shabir. He asks, how do you even approach VCs in LinkedIn? I mean, do you send them the pitch deck? What do you do?
Yes, you definitely, very basic. Anyone who's going to be interested in what you're doing, you don't just state what you're doing, you just send them your pitch deck, and if they're interested, they're going to reply to you. But having a pitch deck with all the different elements that we talked about is very important for VCs to be attracted to what you're doing.
And do they reply to cold calls like this? I mean,
sometimes if the pitch deck is interesting, they will.
And even that is what, 10 slides, 12 slides? It's when you send it to somebody on a cold call.
Yeah. Make it short, most important.
Okay. And one of my last questions, Ragia, is, when, especially this is for all the women entrepreneurs who are watching this, I generally have seen that women don't talk about the scalability of their business. They always are not confident about how big their own business can be. What do you think about this? I mean, how can they talk about their scalability, the scalability of their business model?
Okay, so scalability is very important and very tricky at the same time. So stating that you're scalable, or how you're going, is focusing on how you're going to grow. What are your expansion plans? And it always goes back to how big the problem is. So when you state the problem and how you're going to solve it, maybe you're not going to solve it all at the same time at the beginning. So your solution could be a very small part of the very big thing that you want to achieve at the very end. So you're going to start with something very small, and then move on and developing your solution to get bigger by time. So showing how you're going to scale is showing how you're going to solve the problem that you stated at the very beginning.
And how important is it to show a global picture? Because that's another thing I see, that you always want to show how you can grow globally instead of concentrating on the market that you are in.
I always encourage people to focus first on the market, like the small market, and then grow. You don't start big, you always start small. You be specific, be segmented in a specific market, and then grow when you master this market. So when you master this market, you serve it all, and you think that you're ready to move on different markets, then you go global.
And in a market like ours in the MENA region, is it very important to stay culturally relevant, or is it okay to be bold and exploratory? Like, no, I know you yourself run a company called Honeymoon Company, and
yes.
So I think how important is it to be bold and be, out there with your idea?
No, you don't tie yourself with something like that at the beginning. If you're targeting something that is not sticking to your culture, just state it. It's okay. It makes your idea much more stronger and valid.
We have a question here from Ashish. He says, with an aggressive potential investor, how do you draw the line about what information you can share without an NDA and say that politely?
Okay, so with an aggressive potential investors, um, there's nothing not to say if you pitch your pitch deck and you're confident with what you're saying and you have all points that you want to deliver in this pitch deck, it's always polite to answer the question. So if he's aggressive, he's attacking your idea, you can just be polite by being calm. That's the most important. You're calm and you're answering just the questions with not being aggressive and not fighting back or pushing back. If he's pushing in a specific area, you can just be calm and okay, and you're listening for the feedback and getting the feedback and just staying quiet.
And can you use the same pitch deck again and again and again, or do you?
Yes, definitely. And you always develop your pitch deck with the different feedback that you're getting. So the more feedback that you get, the more development that you develop in your pitch deck moving on.
And these days, lots of people use videos in their pitch deck, right?
Yes.
They do video presentations.
Yeah.
Is that something that?
They use videos portraying their solution or portraying the problem, or in the story at the very beginning. So this is where the 3 different areas where they can use videos.
Okay. Are there any questions from our participants? Or is there anything else you would like to add to this, Ragia?
Yes, I want to add we're launching a female femtech program. If anyone's interested to apply, it's with partnership with Argonon related to female health. So if anyone has a startup related to female health, please check our website to apply.
Okay. Thank you for this, Ragia. If you could please post your email here in the chat. So if anybody has any relevant questions directly to you, they can.
You can always reach out. You can always reach out to me by email. And I'll answer you right away.
Yeah, and I think they can, if they need to apply. Yeah, there in the chat for all of you is Ragia's email. It's ragia@flat6labs.com. And please make sure you all log into our Thai Dubai and Thai women networks like Cecily mentioned. Become members. It costs you nothing, but it gives you a plethora of information, resources, networking, and we have lots of programs running all the time like this. You can always reach out to us and one of us will be happy to help you, especially if you're a startup, because all startups, all entrepreneurs know that how much ever you do, if you have the right backing behind you, you can achieve your goals. So please do reach out to us, connect with us on social media, write to us, become Thai members, and it can only be better for you because we have a lot of programs running, whatever stage of your startup it is. Cecily, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just wanted to encourage every woman entrepreneur to complete a survey. We're just trying to help understand the gender gap for investment in the MENA region. So I've shared the link in chat. It's on LinkedIn. If you can complete the survey, that would give us the information to carry that information and discussion forward.
Yeah, adding to that, I think the Thai Women Network will be sending out emails to register your interest, because we have some very big pitch competitions coming up that we do every year. We have more than 30-40 countries who participate in these pitch competitions with a large equity free money, prize money that's given out to women entrepreneurs. Our women network, our Thai Women, exists to enable and empower and support women entrepreneurs. So please reach out to us. It doesn't matter what stage you are in. We are industry agnostic. It doesn't matter what industry you represent. Please reach out to us from the entire region, because we have programs, events, networking and investor connects all the time. We have accelerator programs, we have clinics going on. We can answer and help you in many, many ways. And we make sure that we help you in whatever way we can. So please do join the Thai Women Network. And like Cecily said, please answer the Vamda survey, because these surveys go a long way in preparing, in helping to prepare reports that can change mindsets. If that's all, Ragia, thank you so much for doing this with us. You have been a great resource. Flat 6 Labs is always very closely been involved with Thai Dubai. So thank you very much for doing this for us. And we look forward to more such sessions.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope everyone benefit from today's session. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, Ragia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.